A missing farmer who vanished into thin air 6 months ago may have been killed, and his body stashed in one of the countless unmarked mine shafts near where he disappeared, a volunteer searcher believes. Dylan Rounds hasn't been seen or heard from since the morning of May 28, when the then 19-year-old called his grandmother as he worked on his farm in the remote town of Lucin, in northwest Utah. What happened to Dylan after he hung up the phone remains a complete mystery. He was reported missing 2 days later, and a search of his property yielded a pair of bloodied boots found dumped behind a dirt pile that family members believe belonged to Dylan. Dylan's truck was also still parked next to his trailer. The vehicle had been pressure washed, and the driver's seat had been moved very far forward as if to accommodate a shorter person. The key fob for the truck was missing and the car was locked, something he apparently never did. Additionally, Dylan's pistol was missing from his trailer and no tracks or footprints were found on the ground. Months of appeals from police and Dylan's family seeking information about what may have happened to the teen have so far turned up few leads. But Lance Kelly has been scouring the Utah and Nevada desert every day for months in search of answers for the Rounds family. Speaking to the U.S. Sun, Lance, 33, said he first learned of Dylan's disappearance just a few days after the teen vanished. He says he is determined to bring Dylan home and has vowed not to stop searching until he does. By chance, at around the same time, he then met Dylan's father, Justin Rounds, who had come into a food bank in nearby Montello, Nevada, where he was volunteering, seeking information about his son. "I've never seen someone so devastated before," Lance recounted. "You could just see he was in an extreme amount of pain, an unimaginable amount of pain, just not knowing where his son was. He was definitely fighting back tears, and he did eventually cry. It was hard not to. I have 2 young ones myself, so it really affected me emotionally too. It got to me seeing how cut up his family was. So my friend, Ty Corbin, and I were part of the fire department at the time. And we told Justin we'd organize a search over the Nevada side of the border, and that's how it all got started. Good place to hide a body." Unable to comprehend losing a child of his own, Lance assured Justin that he and Ty wouldn't stop looking for Dylan until they found him. "That was the last thing I said to Dylan's dad before he left town, and I'm not going back on my word," he said. 6 months on, Lance has kept the promise he made to the Rounds family. Almost every day, the pair ventures out into the desert for several hours to look for clues as to where Dylan may be, or where he may have gone. Recently, they've turned their attention to exploring caves and the many abandoned mine shafts around the Montello and Lucin areas. "One thing people say around here is if you want to get rid of a body, you do it in the wash or you do it in the mine shafts." Lance Kelly, volunteer searcher. Lance and Ty document their search efforts on their YouTube page, Earthworm Entertainment, and last week spent several hours exploring a vertical mine. "We usually go out in the early morning and come back around 3 or 4, Lance said of his daily search attempts. "We head up to the mines up here in the mountains because those would have been pretty accessible to Dylan, and the washes too. One thing people say around here is if you want to get rid of a body, you do it in the wash or you do it in the mine shafts. There are so many mine shafts out here, and a bunch of them aren't even listed. It's a big task," he added. "I think we just need to keep going and doing what we're doing, and I think one day we'll be able to bring him home." So that's the attitude I'm having. Every day we don't find him, that's just another place we can cross off the list. Bringing Dylan home. While it has not yet been determined whether Dylan is dead or alive, his family has previously expressed fears that he was murdered, insisting he wouldn't just go walking out into the desert. Dylan was out building his life, his mum Candice Cooley told People back in June. His lifelong dream was to have his own farm. He has spent the last 2 summers ripping out and redeveloping that ground on his own. He got his water rights. He did everything. she added, as hard as it is, and as much as I hate to say it, I'm about 99% sure somebody murdered my son. Lance, meanwhile, still clings to the hope that Dylan will be found somewhere alive and well. Though his optimism, he says, is diminishing with each passing day. I hope that something is found soon, said Lance. I hope that he's found alive and he's just off somewhere and comes back and he's just fine. But at this point, knowing him from what his family has said and his social media pages, this guy was just all about farming, so it would be odd for him to just go running away from all that. And I don't think that's the case. I think he's out there somewhere and we just have to keep searching. We want to find Dylan and bring him home. That's the goal. Should it turn out that Dylan was indeed murdered, as his mother fears, Lance issued a warning to the culprit or culprits responsible. Justice is coming for you, he confidently declared. Just know that, he added, there has to be justice for Dylan and his family. Mounting suspicions. A number of persons of interest have been considered in connection with Dylan's disappearance over the last 5 months. A few weeks ago, Dylan's parents said the bloody boots recovered by investigators and the location of his phone may help to unravel the mystery of what happened to him. Justin Rounds and Candace Kiely told East Idaho News in October that both pieces of evidence point to a link with James Brenner, who has not been charged in the case. Brenner, 59, is one of 2 men who are thought to have had contact with Dylan in the days before his disappearance. He has been arrested on unrelated felony gun crimes along with Chase Venstra, 41. But Dylan's parents believe Brenner also knows what happened to their son, whose disappearance police are now treating as a homicide investigation. Candace said, Brenner has admitted he's the one who took the boots out there. He said he found them by the shed, on the property, picked them up, moved them by his camper somewhere, and then decided Dylan wasn't coming back for them. Dylan's phone, meanwhile, was found at the bottom of a pond on June 18. Justin said that call records show his son called Brenner on the day he disappeared. He also claims the Jim was at the pond location that same day. Key suspect. The U.S. Sun has previously reported that Brenner was not interviewed by cops until June 7. That was 10 days after Dylan, who turned 20 in August, last spoke with anyone. A search warrant was also executed at Brenner's trailer by the FBI on June 16. Officials say they found ammunition, ignition caps, and black powder associated with muzzle-loader firearms. The U.S. Sun has already reported how the teen's truck appeared to have been tampered with. His parents said it seemed too clean and was put into 4-wheel drive after Dylan had been complaining earlier that the feature wasn't working. Justin and Candace have already criticized what they say is an investigation riddled with multiple errors, omissions, lies, and misconduct. The key fob to Dylan's truck was brought back and placed in Dylan's camp trailer, according to his parents. However, they claimed investigators didn't seem to care. That happened on day number 3 after Dylan was gone. They didn't even think to treat anything suspicious, Candace said. They didn't start thinking, something's not right. Somebody's bringing this kid's stuff back now and he's missing. No, nothing. They just continued on their merry way. Erratic behavior. Candace previously told the U.S. Sun that her son was taken and he did not leave his place willingly. Dylan was last seen working on his farm, where he reportedly had a strange encounter with an unknown man days earlier. The man was walking down the gravel road barefoot. He flagged Dylan down, who was in his truck, Rounds' Aunt Katie Wells told East Idaho News. She added that on the Wednesday before his disappearance, Rounds spoke with several family members on the phone about the man. He asked to use Dylan's phone and was acting erratically. Dylan felt the man was dangerous and may have been high. When he asked Dylan for a ride, Dylan did not give him a ride. There has been no sign of Dylan and no cell phone or bank account activity since he disappeared, his parents say. Following Candace and Jim's new claims, the Box Elder County, Utah Sheriff's Office said their case has been established as credible. They added, locating Dylan Rounds, protecting the integrity of the investigation, and our ability to impose criminal responsibility upon anyone involved in his disappearance are our utmost priorities. The U.S. Sun has contacted the Box Elder County, Utah Sheriff's Office for